Hello, everybody, and welcome to another one in our series, Breaking Down Barriers. My name is Chris Igwe, and these series are inspired by my book, Breaking Down Barriers, My Journey from a Small African Village to the World Stage. And in this book, I've got 50 chapters, and essentially, I've broken them down into my thoughts and ideas and philosophies around what has helped me to make my journey to where I am today and paths in my career with a story that goes with it. 50 chapters, you can start anywhere you like, chapter 1, chapter 50, chapter 15. It's not a sequential process in my life. The key is about the philosophies and ideas and thoughts that I want to share with you. So let's get going. This particular one is entitled Painful Experiences Mold You. Painful experiences mold you. We all have painful experiences. I don't know what yours are, but mine are many and varied. I've lived a lot of experiences, a lot of aspects, and almost on this painful experiences, many other aspects of these chapters that I've written could have been touching on this. If you read the preamble, the beginning, or you look into the story a little bit, I lived through and survived a civil war in my country, in Nigeria. I was small, I was young, but those experiences and those images still remain very strong. They're very vivid, and for different reasons, they live on, although they're managed and controlled. Inevitably, being black has its own challenges in today's world. And I don't even mean around Black Lives Matter and everything else. There are just situations where being black puts you in situations where you are seen as an outcast and as an outsider. You're not allowed in fact. These are all painful experiences, but there could be others that relate more to you. Maybe you've failed at something. I failed, as I explain in one of the chapters. I wanted to be, and I became, a civil engineer, a successful one, working on major international global projects, iconic, award-winning in the construction industry and civil engineering. But I almost could not have been a civil engineer because I failed maths at what is called in the UK ODE level, ordinary level. But I refused to allow that to stop me, and I went on, and in the equivalent of A levels, actually in Geneva, the International Baccalaureate, I got my mathematics exams and went on to be a civil engineer. But it was painful. I was that close to missing out on the opportunity of becoming an engineer. In one of the other chapters, I also talk about coming virtually for me last in the high jump in the English Schools Championships. I should have won. I was one of the best in the UK at the time, and I failed. That was painful. I didn't understand why. I don't know why. So when I talk about painful experiences molding you, I've been there. And maybe that is where you are today. Maybe you're going through your own struggles, your own challenges. But don't allow those painful situation or those pains themselves to hold you back. You see, in here, Eleanor Roosevelt, former First Lady of the United States, said, "The purpose of life, after all, is to live it, to taste experience to the utmost, to reach out eagerly and without fear for a never and richer experience." See, the purpose of life, if you like, to miss out all the other parts, the purpose of life is to have a richer experience. And sometimes those experiences are definitely going to go through painful circumstances. Talk about any mother that has delivered, the pain of childbirth, and yet the beautiful experience that comes out at the end in this wonderful child, this wonderful baby that comes out. You see, there are no easy paths in life. Life was never meant to be easy. Now you may say, well, that's a bit unfair. Well, I don't know. I didn't create the world, so I can't tell you. But what I can tell you is that unless or until you allow something to break you, you have to continue to forge through it. Now, I preface this by saying I've lived through and survived, thankfully, by the grace of God, a civil war. So I know what war is about. So when you talk about these wars happening around the world in different places, I know because I've lived there. They're They're painful, they're devastating, they're inhumane, they're all the things that you want and you can describe. But what about you? I'm talking about you. Where are you in this process? Hopefully you have a roof over your head. Hopefully you have a warm place to sleep. But there are many who are homeless, many who have no jobs, for example. Several friends of mine, unfortunately, are struggling to get jobs. They've either been laid off or companies been restructured, and they had very senior positions, managing director, CEO, chief executive. And yet they find themselves in this struggle once again. See, no matter where you are in life, whatever that cycle is, whether it's the childbirth, the early stage for a mother, for example, or later on in life when you're having these challenges, whatever they happen to be, what I want to do is encourage you through this. And I can say it because, like I say, I've lived through it. I'm not preaching to you here. I'm telling you what is factual. That to get past whatever it is that you're in pain about, you're going to have to work through it. And once you work through it, you will find peace on the other side. Let's take another aspect. In here I have what are called critical thinking questions. These are basically for you, which is very much what the book is about, for you to think through things. Don't just listen to me. Listen to me, please, but at the same time, consider some of these things for yourself. And in this critical thinking question, I say, if you were able to clear your mind of painful experiences, what would you replace these with? Think about it for a minute. You have these painful experiences, perhaps you're still living through, or you're still coming out of. But imagine a situation where you want to clear your mind of these painful experiences. You want to get out on the other side. You want to see what the other side looks like or feels like. What would you replace these painful experiences with? Because you see, that's the key. That's what's going to drive you forward. Not living in that moment and say, oh, this is terrible. I can't get out of it. Now, of course, on the one hand, very importantly, if you're in such a place and you really need a coach or a mentor, somebody to help you, because often we just need somebody to give us that hand to help us out of that pit, out of that hole that we're currently in. Sometimes we can't see it for ourselves. We're in a difficult place. I hope there are people out there that can support you with that. This actually resonates because a couple of weeks ago I was in Warsaw in a European conference, Central Eastern European conference. And on the final day I was sitting there before I was heading off to the airport, finishing off my breakfast, and somebody came and wanted to introduce herself to me and see if there was an opportunity to explain what her business is and see if that would be of interest to me, having heard me speak or engaged the previous day in the conference. Now, apart from that wonderful chance, as we all have, networking, connecting, exchanging business cards, I invited her to sit down just to get to know a bit more about the person. And as it transpired, long story short, she has her own challenges. She has her own painful experiences, which she didn't go into because she didn't know me well enough. And like I say, this is only a couple of weeks ago or so. But the point is, we all suffer. In the end, yes, she mentioned, because I asked the question, I mentor, I coach, so I can ask key questions that enable someone to comfortably and in a safe place express themselves. And through that, it's transpired that there are some challenges that she has, and I've given some thoughts and ideas about how she can work through this. Who is it out there that is hurting? If it's you, ask for help. If it's somebody else, see if you can help them. Because through these experiences is how we grow. It's how we overcome. Whether you're on the mountain today, I can guarantee that you'll be in the valley tomorrow, unless you're able to just see things differently and not see it as mountains and valleys and jungles and streams and rivers to cross and everything else, but it's just the flow of life. Once you embrace this idea that painful experiences mold you then they have no hold over you after that. You just keep working through. And in this book, as I say, I have different chapters that I go through. In this particular one, I don't normally share what's a chapter in the book, or at least a story. Would be great if you get the book yourself and learn a bit more about it. But what I did share in this particular section and this story is around the fact that a long time ago now, with a business partner based out there, we had an opportunity to work on the redevelopment of a project on the Sunshine Coast just above Brisbane. It was absolutely fantastic, fabulous location. From a construction engineering, architectural background, business mind, I could bring something to life. Long story short, of course, it needed to be funded. We were going to redevelop that project, that location, which already existed, turn it into something magnificent. We had big plans, big ideas. And we were able to get the debt financing from a local bank in Australia. And we were securing the equity piece. And just as we were securing the equity piece, 9/11 hit. 9/11, so as you can see, quite a long time ago. The impact of that was literally the deal imploded. And we, or myself more specifically, was financially strapped because, long story, but I was the one bringing the finance, and I'd brought some finance into it already, which was already a loan from someone else. Now, as it transpired, the whole thing blew up in our face. We lost money. I lost money. Not something I would do again, but it was very painful. It took a long time to pay off that personal loan that I had taken out. I look back on that and I go, I'd rather not have done it, but I did. And there are things that I've learned from it. And that's the point about these painful experiences. What are you learning from it? What is it teaching you? What has it taught you? In some cases, you'll never do it again. Absolutely not. I will not do that again. That was a long, long road to get out of that. And various other things I learned around that as well. So in wrapping up, basically, painful experiences, we will have them time and time and time again. The idea is hopefully to diminish. Do I believe in a world in which there are no painful experiences? Yes and no. Yes, in the sense that I want to believe that even painful experiences I can work through. But on the one hand, there are just such situations in your world and in your life which are just part of the natural cycle where you will be confronted with these experiences. And it's how you deal with them that matters. So I encourage you to embrace the idea that painful experiences mold you. They make you stronger. They make you even better. And I don't say that lightly. I know some people say, well, that's a little frivolous. That's a little, you're not going to the heart of it. Well, you can take it as deep as you want, or just hear what I say. This book is not a book that is full of deep, complex thoughts and ideas. It's been written in order that any age group. I have a mother and her daughters have taken the book. They're teenagers. They won't give the book back to her to finish reading because they love reading it. They're enjoying it. That's the intention. It's not to make this deep philosophical, complex discussion. If you want to do that, that's entirely up to you. This is not what I am putting forward. So please embrace the idea that painful experiences will forge you. There will always be a better outcome if you work towards it and allow it to, through the process, teach you what it needs to teach you so that either you don't repeat it or you come out on the other side stronger. I hope this has resonated for you. If it has, please feel free to like, comment, and share. And of course, I hope to see you in one of my future videos. In the meantime, all the best. Thank you.